So if you'd like to come to a comfortable meditation position, whether that's sitting or lying down, and taking a moment to really tune in to which posture would feel most supportive for meditation for you right now. And once you've decided, can you begin to get interested in how your body meets the support underneath you? So that might be noticing the back of your body against the ground. Tuning in to which parts of you sink right down into gravity. And also becoming aware of the parts of you that don't sink into the ground so much. Areas where there's space, or where your muscles are maybe tensing a little, resisting the support from the ground. If you're sitting, perhaps you can get interested in how your feet meet the ground. Tuning into that feeling of the firmness of the floor underneath your feet. And then tuning in to how your bum sinks into the chair or the floor. And can there be a sense of really allowing yourself to sink down into that? Allowing the chair or the ground to hold your weight. And whatever position you're in, can there be a sense that the spine is dignified? And you may really want to feel into what that word, dignified, brings up for you. So what does thinking of a dignified spine bring to your body? What sort of posture does that create? And don't try and force anything, but notice any subtle little changes in how your body's positioned. And if you'd like to take your awareness to your feet now, getting interested in how your feet feel. And in your mind's eye, can you sense into each of your toes one at a time? Noticing which ones are really easy to connect to and which ones aren't so much. And it's really common that certain toes will feel easier to connect to than others. It's not unusual for some of them to feel numb or that we're unable to identify the individual toe. You may find that they feel a bit grouped. And we can strengthen our awareness by practicing these types of exercises. So developing that mapping to various parts of our body. Bringing greater awareness to how we are in each and every moment. So as you finish tuning in to each of your toes, pausing to notice what came up for you. Can you now find in your mind's eye what feels like the central point of the sole of your foot? And don't worry too much if this is anatomically accurate or not. It's more working with that felt sense. So where feels like the center of each foot. And in your mind's eye, can you imagine each foot widening from that central point, expanding? Noticing any feelings of softness this creates. And then when you're ready to let that go, taking your attention to your hands, getting interested in where you've positioned your hands and what sort of shape they're making. Is there any tensing at the hands? And try not to judge what comes up. So we're looking to be with what is and get interested in that. And now in your mind's eye, can you explore tuning into the spaces between each of your fingers? So tuning into the spaces between each of the fingers. How does that feel? Can you take a moment to briefly hang out with any feelings of softness, relaxation this creates in the hands? And now, if you'd like to take your mind's eye up to your face, checking in with how your face feels. What sort of expression are you naturally making? And again, try not to get caught up in the story around this. So we don't need to attach meaning to it. It can more be, oh, I notice my lips are in the shape of a smile or a frown. There's tension in my forehead or around my eyes. So noticing at that sensory level, not making what we find mean anything in particular. And then in your awareness, can you smooth out any creases in your forehead? So thinking of smoothing out any creases in the forehead, just as you'd smooth out lines in a satin sheet. You may notice that your eyeballs sink towards your cheekbones as you do. The lips part ever so slightly. And there's space between the top and the bottom row of teeth. The tongue rests in the lower mouth. And there's a feeling of spaciousness, a dome shape in the upper palate. The tongue and the mouth are quiet. You may find that your chin is organically tucked ever so slightly towards your throat. And if you bring some awareness to your hairline at the back of your neck, you may notice a subtle sense of lengthening along the neck as the chin draws ever so slightly towards the throat. So allowing your awareness to travel down the midline of the body now, sweeping over your chest and sternum, down to your abdomen, and resting on your belly. Can you have a sense of a strong and supple spine and a soft, relaxed belly? So embodying this balance of strength, the sturdiness of the skeleton, that stability of the spine. And then the softness, the receptivity of the gut. And if it feels comfortable, maybe you'd like to take your hands to your lower belly, giving it a little rub with a sense of kindness. So placing your hands on your belly as you would a loved one. Beginning to tune in to how your breath feels here. Noticing the rise and fall of your belly as you breathe in and out. How the breath inflates your belly, lifts your hands just a tiny touch. And then as you exhale, the belly falls. Again, it's quite subtle. The hands relax down. And try not to force anything at all. So you don't need to change your breath or do anything at all special with it. You don't need to make your breath deeper or shorter. If you find as you start to observe your breath that you organically start to change it, see if you can rest down into the support of the chair or the ground. So leaning back into that support. And you may find this helps you reduce the effort a little. So you can notice and be with what is. Be with your natural breath, rather than changing your breath. And what do you notice about your experience of breathing in this way? How does your breath feel? Where is it smooth or sharp? Is there anywhere it catches? Do you find that you picture or visualize your breath as you get intimate with this process of breathing? So if you'd now like to take your attention to your lower ribs, you may wish to take your hands here, resting them here as you did on your belly. You may prefer to have your hands placed elsewhere. Tuning in now to how your breath feels at your ribs. Can you notice any patterns of expansion and contraction here? Again, without trying to make this happen. No force required. Can you more tune in to the subtlety of breathing? Noticing how this feels in your ribs. You may find that the ribs expand a little as you breathe in, and then fall a little as you breathe out. You may even have a sense of the spaces between the ribs expanding, widening just a tiny touch each time you breathe in, then lessening, reducing, again, just a tiny, tiny touch each time you breathe out. As you explore this, do you find that you're noticing the breath in your front ribs, or the side or the back? You find that it's more in the fronts or the sides. Can you take your awareness to the back of the rib cage? How does it feel to tune in to the movement of the back of your rib cage as you breathe? Does this feel easier or more difficult to connect to? And maybe now you can take your attention inside your rib cage so it feels like you're sensing the breath from this central area, perhaps even from the lungs themselves. So a feeling of this 360-degree breath. The inhale expanding all sides of the rib cage. The exhale deflating that. Again, just a really tiny touch. That subtle pulse of expansion and release. And when you're ready, maybe you'd like to shift your focus to the sides of your waist. So we're transitioning to the more subtle places where we can sense the breath. How does your breath feel in the sides of your waist? You may find a little bit of length along the sides of the waist as you inhale, and then a shortening as you exhale. Perhaps the waist also widens a tiny touch as you breathe in, and then narrows as you breathe out. If you find it difficult to connect to the breath here, don't worry. Don't try and force anything. Simply allow whatever your experience is to be what it is. And this is what mindfulness meditation is all about. It's about paying attention, being intimate with what is, allowing that, not trying to force change or cling on. It's being present for whatever is. And know that if this feels too much at any point in time, you're always in charge of how you use your awareness. And you can steady yourself by coming back to your feelings of support. Noticing how the chair or the ground holds your body and your weight. Feeling your feet against the floor. Resting back into that support. And once you've steadied yourself, once it feels okay, gently taking your attention back. So maybe guiding your awareness back to those sensations of breath at the side of your waist. Now, when you're ready, bringing your attention to your nostrils and getting interested in how your breath feels here. Noticing the changes of temperature in air between when you breathe in and when you breathe out. Subtle flaring of the nostrils on the inhale, and then the relaxation on the exhale. Some people can tune in to, it's almost like a subtle tickling sensation of the air gliding through the tiny nose hairs as you breathe both in and out. See what comes up for you. Breath at your nostrils. And then when you're ready to let that go, can you come back to the feeling of your body supported by gravity? And rather than tuning into the breath in a particular area of your body, Can you have a sense of the breath moving through you? So rather than your body breathing, it's your body being breathed. Your body held by gravity, completely supported. Nowhere else to be right now. Nothing required of you. The breath passing through and nourishing you. Your body being breathed. So preparing to transition out of the practice now. Letting the idea of the breath go. And tuning in to how your feet feel against the ground. Perhaps giving your toes a little squeeze or a wiggle. And taking your attention outwards, noticing what you can hear. Is there anything you can smell or taste? And can you become aware of the space around you? And then taking any wiggles, stretches or yawns that feel good. If you're lying down, rolling over onto one side, opening your eyes here to readjust to the light. If you're sitting, you might want to lower your gaze. Again, opening your eyes steadily and taking a little look around the room. And then from either position, coming back to a comfortable seated position to end the practice. Thank you.